Inside the app, like a new podcast, Crazy in Love. Falling in love is the best thing in the world. You see stars, you feel giddy, it makes you do crazy things. Listen to stories about what happens when true crime meets true love. Open the free iHeart app and search Crazy in Love to start your true crime binge today. iHeart, discover media, radio, and podcasts that you'll love. The Mandy Connell Show.
Welcome back to the third hour of the show. In just a moment, we're going to welcome Dr. Gary and Karen Rhea from Downtown's Healthcare. But first, we have to do our 30 days of gratitude. Every day, we are being grateful for something in the month of Thanksgiving. And Antonius, you thought of one earlier. What was yours? What are you thankful for today?
Well, I've been here working at iHeart for, I think, like a little over 1.5 to 2 years probably now. Traffic getting here is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day, traffic between here and downtown Denver where I live and traffic between here and Lakewood where I currently live is just terrible. And I'm just thankful that, I'm able to make it here consistently.
You know what? Sometimes you got to lower the bar for gratitude. It's fine. That's good. That's A-okay. Dave, you just thought of one.
Yeah, it's, a lot of these things we talk about, we've had most of our lives, like family and health, and we're thankful and want to continue having those things. And then there are things we used to have and don't have anymore that we'd like to get back, and we're thankful when we have them. And the one in that category is a good night's sleep. When I was younger, your head hits the pillow, next thing you know, it's morning. Boy, that happens about 1 out of 100 times.
Yeah, that's never really been my thing, that whole fall asleep right away when the head hits the pillow.
So when that happens, I am thankful.
I'm grateful for the internet because we live in an era where now if you want to know something, you don't have to leave the comfort of your recliner. You pick up your phone and you have this amazing computer in your hand and you can learn literally about every topic in the world. Want to know how to do brain surgery? There are videos on YouTube. Want to learn how to speak Italian? Just download Babbel. You have access to every single piece of information in the entire world that exists in your phone. And I am thankful for that.
It's funny, Richard Robertson, our old intern, used to call the internet the oracle.
Oh, yes. Very, very true.
And it is true.
One thing I am also thankful for is my relationship with Downtown's Healthcare. That's called a segue. Because I'm going to welcome in Dr. Gary from Downtown's Healthcare. Let me do that. You've heard him on the show before, but I've talked about it in my ads. But Gary, the other day I did, 1 billion squats in my workout. And the fact that I can do a squat is almost entirely because of the help that I got at Downtown's Healthcare. And I mean that. I'm not just blowing smoke. When I was 45, I could not have done 10 squats without pain the next day. I'm lingering pain for days until I went to Downtown's Healthcare. I also want to welcome Karen Rhea on the phone from far, far away. Karen is, of course, the nurse practitioner who does the sonogram guided injections that they do at Downtown's Healthcare for a variety of things. Karen, how you doing, my friend? Well, I'm excited to have you as well. Gary is also here sitting in the studio. Now you can talk, Gary.
Oh, can I say what I'm thankful for?
Yes, please.
Oh,
say what you're thankful for.
I am thankful for our team at Downtown's Healthcare. They do such an amazing job in helping people and extending our purpose and helping people to get off medications and avoid surgeries.
Well, earlier today I was talking to Susan Whitkin, and Susan is going to come on at 2:35 because Susan said to me off the air, I cannot believe, she said, I cannot tell you how much Downtown's Healthcare has helped me. And I'll let her tell the rest of the story, but it's not just Susan. It's my friend Lori Lynn. It is my friend Crystal, the wine yogi, and I have their permission to out them as patients. I'm not just throwing people under the bus. My husband. So all of these people in my immediate sphere have had their lives changed by what you guys do at Downtown's Healthcare. And the kicker is everybody has a different issue. Mm-hmm. Nobody has the same problem.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. When you guys started doing this years ago, and I'm going to direct this at you, Gary, you were really focused on knees. When we first met, you said we're doing this for knees. We're getting some great results with knees, arthritis and things of that nature. When did you realize that this could be a lot more?
Early on, we had such fantastic results with knees, and as we started training and up on this more and more. And I think also when Karen actually started training up to date, like over 1,200 providers across the country on this, we just started doing a lot of other joints, like for instance, like meniscus tears in the knee, shoulder labrum tears, elbows, hand. I mean, it doesn't matter what joint it is or muscle tear. We've seen fantastic results.
Now, Karen, you are the superstar of the regenerative therapy injection world, because I think how many places have you shot a needle in my body? I mean, I feel like we've kind of covered head to toe at this point. But how many people do you think you've treated doing this stuff? Now, we wanted to have Gary and Karen on today, first of all, to answer questions. I always, when you guys are on, I always get, after you leave, super specific email questions that I have no idea how to answer. So if you have a question about a specific issue, maybe you're having knee pain, maybe you're having labrum tear, whatever it is, now's the time to ask your question. If you have a specific condition that might be unique and different, now's the time to find out if they can help you. But ultimately, if you don't get your question answered today, I'll give you the information at the end of the hour to get your free evaluation. 303-713-8585 is the number. That's 303-713-8585. And you can also text us, although if you guys text us, I don't have any way of asking the follow-up questions that we usually need. So if you can call us, that would be fantastic. 303-713-8585. Now, I wanted to ask you, Karen, what is some of the, because I was reading an article maybe 2 weeks ago that there are so many studies going on right now about either stem cell therapy or regenerative medicine overall. What are some of the cool things that are happening right now? Well, and my husband Chuck came to see you guys. He had torn his meniscus, not a full tear, but it was a partial tear. It wasn't a full rupture. And he was a total skeptic, like 100%. He was like, look, I'll try this only because I've seen what it's done for you, right? And he's watched me personally, and the placebo effect only lasts 90 days. So I'm well out of that window. I've been out of that window for years now. So he tried it, and it took probably a couple months before he was pain-free, but that's been 6 months ago now. And his knee went from being in constant pain to being fine. And he was told by his orthopedist that he probably was going to have some surgery at some point to take care of it. And now he's perfectly fine on that knee. So, I mean, you took a skeptic in him and made him a believer. So it's one of those things that if people send me these emails, they're like, do you really use Downtown Healthcare? I'm like, yes, I promise you I'm not sitting here telling tales. I'd let you see as a matter of fact, Karen, you know what we need to do next time I'm in? We need to take another x-ray of my knees. I would love to see years later. Yeah, because we did them about 6 months after, I think. And then I would love to see where they are now, because the stuff that I can do, I'd love to see exactly where they are. Karen, are you ready for some questions? Because I got some questions for you. Let me make sure she's logged in. Okay, good. Here we go. Jim, you are on with Karen and Dr. Gary from Downtown's Healthcare. What's your question?
Well, my question is actually somewhat of a sensitive one. In that it's an older guy, they're not as, well, I'll get to the point, it's about erectile dysfunction.
Okay.
So his
All right, Jim. There you go. Now, Karen, when you say shot, men don't like the word shot when you're talking about that particular area. So, how invasive of a procedure is that shot? Just to be clear.
Absolutely, I'd be worried if they weren't nervous with those terms. So with that procedure, there is triple numbing cream, a lot of numbing cream, and that is a procedure that helps to actually get more blood flow to the shaft of the penis, so that that's what helps with erectile dysfunction, is getting more blood flow in the area. But I use a lot of numbing cream, and I always hear that's it, we're done, and yes, that's it, we're done. So
All right.
quick and efficient.
All right. Let me grab Steve. You were on with Karen and Dr. Gary.
My name is Steve. Am I on?
Yeah, go right ahead, Steve.
Oh, good, because I can't hear anything. My wife had just coughed and she's had a couple of foods and had lots. We've been going to a doctor's office that specializes in all sorts of things, but they've been fitted up with dental movement and have been chiropractic adjustments and stretches and stuff. We've given her exercises to do. Today they did platelets, which is the first time they've done that, and then she has like 2 more visits left.
So she has sciatica. Is that what's happening?
I think so.
Yeah. 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 Been there.
Living like Chester.
Karen, I can vouch for Karen helped me with my sciatica. Between Karen and Dr. Cook, and they definitely helped me. But did you hear anything that was out of the ordinary there, Karen, that he should maybe follow up on?
Yeah, Steve, I'm glad you called in. This is a very common condition and it's quite debilitating. As you mentioned, living with Chester, that's not good. I would definitely want to look at a couple of more things just based on some of the treatments you recommend that they have recommended so far. I had a couple other things in mind that I would we've seen great results with helping with low back pain and sciatic issues that you had mentioned. So I would want to do more evaluation on that.
Steve, you may want to just call and get a free appointment, see if they can help.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, sir. Let me ask a couple questions from the text line. This is very interesting, and I don't know. This might be a stumper, Gary and Karen. My foot took the brunt of an anti-armor grenade, and a dozen surgeries later, I live with constant pain in my foot and ankle. The VA says there's nothing they can do about it. In fact, they refuse disability for it because it doesn't affect range of motion. I refuse to take opioids. It's been 12 years, and I just don't know what to do.
That's a tough one from the standpoint that you really need to do a consultation evaluation. Right. But just from that type of an injury, you can have scar tissue that forms. And so many times if you have a lot of scar tissue, you have to focus on breaking that down. And it makes sense the VA wouldn't do much about that. But we have seen patients come in before who have significant scar tissue in and around joints that when you start to break down that scar tissue, non-surgically, they get results. But it comes down to just taking a step back and looking at it. Yeah, second opinion.
This is where the strategy that Downtown's employs, which is more about the physical aspects of medicine rather than the pharmacological aspects of medicine. And you guys are not anti-drug, I should be clear. You know, you're not anti-pharmacological solutions, but everyone that I've ever seen at Downtown's, they want to get to the root cause of the issue, and a lot of that has to do with physical stuff and how you're structured, and if you're out of whack, and if your spine is twisted, and all of those things that happen. And once you start to solve all of those issues, for me personally, I found out that
Made any advances in neuropathy treatment?
Yeah, we've added some things, and I mean, we're seeing really good results with it. We're looking at a machine, it's like a $50,000 machine that is getting really good results, but we'll probably put that out in the Lowry area, because I feel like more people will go to Lowry location with neuropathy
Run into the retro.
who wants to go downtown.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, seeing really good results with that. I mean, actually, the reason being, there's no other treatment for it other than GABA or some sort of medication. You know, there's really no
Yeah,
other
I
solutions.
still have the problems.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much the same. It's not getting worse or better.
Well, we see, and I don't know what your eval was, like, because when you do an evaluation, you usually can tell, like, can this get like 10% better, 50% better, you know, depending on what's causing it, like, is it, you know, rarely can you get something 100% with that, but even if you get something 50, 60% better, from balance issues to just being able to sleep, you know, to not having, you know, just the pins and needles that some people have, I mean, everyone's
mine
different.
is more of a balance numbness. I never get the keeping me up at night,
That's good.
tingling stuff.
Yeah.
But it, you know, if this is the worst, that's the best. Usually I'm in here varying a little bit from one day to the next.
Yeah. I would actually, you know, you can always come in just to see where things are at compared to before, and, you know, just see what's going on, but I know that Karen has added some different things to that from a treatment standpoint.
Well, I was kind of an experimental case.
You were the guinea pig.
I was hoping, you know,
Yeah.
it would work. I think there was a slight improvement, but not enough for me to want to go forward.
Yeah.
Getting busier and busier, and I'm aware you might want to put off your new kitchen
That would be a snack.
I know that, but as it is every year,
A snack?
Yep. Want anything?
No, thank you.
This is Todd.
God, it's a ghost town here.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it? It's so weird.
No one wants to come back, huh?
Well,
Oh, yeah,
in all honesty, like a couple things are happening right now. One, iHeart realizes they can dramatically reduce their real estate footprint, like dramatically. So they have been incredibly supportive of everybody working from home. Not to mention, it completely eliminates the issue of worrying about vaccinations and, you know, office contamination and all of that crap. So they've been super chill about the whole thing, and I think that there will be people who never come back. And we have days where there's a bunch of salespeople in here, but that's
This is
it.
former Notre Dame
I
quarterback
mean,
Brady
we come back on Tuesday and Thursday because I like being in here across from it with Ross, you know, so that's cool. But it's I'm only coming back 2 days a week, and in all honesty, like some days, if I decide to stay home, I'll stay home. No one cares. No one cares.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's, I think that's what's really, I think that's a lot of
Mandy, you have an American Financing after news traffic.
Okay. The thing is, and I have an article on the blog today about it, is that, you know, in a study, a poll survey, whatever you want to call it, like 70% of job seekers said, yeah, I want flexibility about where I work. And a lot of people said, I like flexibility about when I work. Well, when you work isn't always possible. Like, shit has to be covered. You know what I mean? When businesses are open, shit has to be covered. But ultimately, if you're in a job that can be worked remotely, set goals for productivity. And if people reach them, why would you hassle them? Like, why would you bother them?
Like you said, your footprint for real estate goes way down for space.
100%.
That's what's happening downtown. Downtown, they got like, they come back 1 or 2 days a week, but if someone gets COVID, they shut the whole floor down.
Yeah.
And so it's just not, it's never, I don't even know when it will ever recover, frankly.
Yep. I have been trying to get a commercial real estate agent to come on the show and talk about the real commercial real estate situation, and they won't, because it's soft, and they don't want to talk about
I
it.
think it's not great.
That's what I'm saying.
There are companies moving from California and other out of state, but I don't. Yeah, I think it's much softer than what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, I think, and nobody wants to talk about it because nobody wants to make the rent concessions that they need to make to get people to come back downtown. All that retail space there is still open. I mean, there's nothing on the ground floor of most of these buildings. It's crazy. And why would you sign a lease down there right now?
I've got a year and 10, 11 months left, and now I'm like thinking, do I just go outside of downtown?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's that bad. It's just hasn't recovered.
Yeah.
One on the west side on westbound C470 by Vandermeer.
Also on inbound pain.
We're living in interesting times, that's for sure.
You can now get in the elevator on the first floor with no key card.
Yeah, I do that.
Why is that?
Because there's other floors that in theory people will be on, they can't keep us off. That's why that door out here, the one from the, you come out of the elevator and go hard right, that has to be kept closed all the time.
Right, except
So,
it's not.
yeah.
With a snow shower late and a low of 28.
Yeah, it will be eventually.
Sunny, windy, and a high of only 40. Right now,
Yeah, I mean, we had all 4 floors of this building when I got here, now we have 2. We have 3 and 4.
And
1 and 2 are open.
And they're empty.
And it's been open for 2 years now. So,
Their timing was so bad on this project.
yep.
Yeah.
Just before,
All right, here you go.
it was half
Hang on,
done
that
just
spot.
before the COVID hit.
You know, if your interest rate is a little bit high, right? You're like, no big deal. I'll just send the bank money. I don't have to. I mean, that's what I would not do that. As a matter of fact, I just didn't do that. I called American Financing, talked to one of their salary-based mortgage consultants, knocked a point off my mortgage and $600 off my monthly bills with one phone call. And it was literally maybe an hour and a half worth of work total. Well, if you add in the closing where they came to our house, 2 hours total for $600 a month for the rest of my loan. It's time for you to find out if they can do for you what they did for me, or even better. You know, some of their customers are saving over $1,000 a month. Just call 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000. Online, AmericanFinancing.net. And please tell them you heard about it from Mandy Connell. I apparently got on some PR firm for corporate, like, earning blast things or whatever. So if you want to know about the corporate earnings of any company in America, it's all in my email box.
Oh, wow.
Right there.
First sale to full scale. Making your
Ugh.
future real opens endless possibilities. It's a journey, and that's the beauty of
Yeah,
entrepreneurship. As
That'll
the
be
owner
interesting.
of
I'd like to
this
see, I mean, I gotta figure out my lease. I hope it drops before then.
Yeah.
Because they were talking about them being higher, like, right before COVID.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
You guys have outgrown that space, though.
I mean, literally, I feel like we need to move outside and, like, fewer staff downtown and just, like,
Better parking.
we need better parking. You know, it's just that and just a smaller space, like half the space.
Yeah.
But move people out of downtown and just
Yeah.
have providers down there.
Well, if you don't come south first, I'm going to kill you. Just letting you know. I need something
do
closer to
know-
my house in Parker.
I do know someone in the tech center who's going bankrupt.
What?
Yeah.
Similar practice?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on there though, but there could be some opportunity. But
Isn't that sad when you look at something and but you recognize the opportunity as well? You're like, oh, that's sad, but
yeah, exactly.
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, maybe.
Which procedures are covered by Medicare?
Yeah, we're gonna talk pay, insurance, and all that stuff now.
Medicare is a tricky one because there are products out there that you can bill out a certain way, but I've always been warned.
Hey, Mandy. No, they're both doctors, right? Dr. Gary and Dr. Ray. Can I put as both doctors or
No,
no?
she's a nurse practitioner.
Okay,
What is that?
okay.
ARNP?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It's just put Karen Rea, REA, ARNP, all capitalized.
REAARNP.
Yeah. But you can get clawbacks from Medicare. Like Medicare pays for it, but then
They pull it back
they'll
later.
Pull it back later, which can be very costly if
Well,
you're.
give me the last four. AR what?
ARNP are the initials. Instead of like MD, she's an ARNP.
So in the several years that you've been coming here, have insurance companies improved at all in accepting this stuff? Has there been
Not a
any
lot,
movement?
a little, just a little.
That's
They keep saying
disappointing.
it is. They keep saying that you have to have studies, but my whole point with that is that insurance companies are, run by the pharmaceutical companies.
Mm-hmm.
Pharmaceutical companies don't want this technology out there. That's why they're trying to do what are called they're trying to make the products what are called a 531 classification, which means that they're a drug. Then they can make money on it.
Right.
But many of the products out there are called 561 products, which are not a drug. So, I mean, to me, if you take something out of your body and you put it back in, how is that a drug?
You didn't manipulate it or change it.
Exactly.
Right.
But what they're saying is that they make the rules so narrow that if you manipulate, you can't use that. You have to spend millions and millions of dollars to get an R&D, like do a study, to I mean, you're talking tens of 20s of millions of dollars to get it on the market. And then it's the pharmaceutical company will stamp its approval, but then obviously they're getting a cut. So it's just follow the money, unfortunately.
Do insurance companies cover things like acupuncture and that kind of
Some
stuff?
of them do.
Back on Lord 10.
I've had
We do
insurance
have a
that covered
ballot
that.
Pollock after this last segment
Okay.
before the show, before they gets in sports.
Okay. Now, do you want to stick around for of the day? Our trivia session? Well, I won't throw you into of the day. That would be chaos. Welcome back. We're here. Dr. Gary's here. We have Karen Rhea on the phone. We're talking about regenerative therapy, all kinds of stuff, and I've got a ton of questions on the text line. But a lot of them are, is this covered by insurance? What is covered by Medicare? Cost of this stuff. So we have multiple questions along those lines. So let's talk about that right now, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, this is a broad question because we do so many different services in our office, and a lot of them are covered by insurance.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things that are not, and so it just depends on the condition, what's going on with them, what our medical team and our chiropractic team recommends, our rehab team, whatever they're recommending. We always put programs together for people, number one, and we utilize their insurance as best we possibly can. And for the stuff that's not covered by insurance, we have multiple programs to help people afford this. And on top of that, the great thing is this time of year, HSA, FSAs, it's a great time of year to actually take advantage of those programs that you may have on from the company that you work with.
Because an HSA or an FSA does not necessarily have the same framework as the same restrictions as an insurance plan. If it is medically related, that you can use your money for that. So that's always, at the end of the year, it's like, you've been thinking about this, you got that HSA money stacked up, it might be time to go ahead and make your appointment and find out. So let me see here. Do you this one says, do you have any affiliates in Colorado Springs? But I gotta tell you, it's not a very far drive.
No, not really.
Yeah.
I would actually, we have people come from other states. So.
Oh, well, there you go. Let me talk to Susan Whitkin very quickly because she just popped into the news studio. And Susan, you have been going to Downtowns now for how long? Like a daily migraine sufferer, kind of migraine sufferer. Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. When she was a stunt woman, and she hurt herself severely as a stunt woman. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. Right. Just so she can find her surgeon. She wants to be very particular. Right. Yeah. And they have an office in Lowry. So there you go. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Right. I did. We this came up, Karen, off the air between me and Susan. We had this conversation off the air, and I said, "You have to come on the air and talk about this." Hey, slow down. You know, it's funny when feeling your toes becomes a cause for celebration. You know, it really does. I appreciate you, Susan, taking the time to talk about that. So, a couple of these. Here's an interesting one. I had COVID and now long COVID, and now I have knee joint pain. Have you helped with this condition? If so, has it helped with or without follow up visits? Can I answer the follow up visits for just a second as a patient? I have known people who went other places and did regenerative therapy, and they said, "Oh, I didn't get any results at all." And I said, "Well, what follow-up care did you do? Did you do physical therapy? What did you do?" And they said, "Well, nothing." Well, when I went to downtowns, I did physical therapy. I did things that helped me make sure that that wasn't going to happen again, and I got great results. But do you have to have follow-ups? I mean, I know I got great results with follow-up stuff.
You know, on that question, it's patient specific and dependent on what their condition is.
Right.
Some people don't need a lot of that, and others do. You know, when you actually look at a part of the body, let's just take a knee, for example. If you have arthritis in the knee, it's breaking down for a reason. And a lot of times it's because there's muscular imbalances within around the joint's not lining up well. And so we take a team approach to taking care of that. You know, our medical providers, you know, will recommend what they recommend, and many times a rehab specialist will work on strengthening and stretching and getting the body where it's functioning better. Most joint problems are biomechanical in nature, meaning that they're just not moving correctly, and you have to look at why. And once you find out why, then you put a program together to actually correct that as best you can.
Well, Karen, you want to add to that?
Absolutely. I think Dr. Berry hit the nail on the head with that. Not only do we look at the joint, we look above, below, is it muscle, is it nerve, is it bone? We also look at nutrition. We look at what equipment is needed, what exercises in office, at home, and then the follow-up, 3, 6 months, 12 months. You know, how are we doing? What do we need to modify or tweak? And so it is a big picture approach.
Well, and like I said, I mean, for me personally, that the physical therapy after to kind of ensure that I didn't end up in the same place that I ended up in the first, because mine was just wear and tear stuff. I didn't have any kind of major injury on that. Last few questions, because we are almost out of time, and I had something that I wanted to ask you about, Gary, and now I don't know where that was. I'm looking for my list right now. How can people get in to get a free evaluation, Karen? What is that process?
Absolutely. Give us a call at 303-292-9992, and they will take a quick history, get you scheduled, and then we can sit down and go in depth and really figure out what's going on. Can we help? Where do we go from here?
I remembered the thing I wanted to ask you about, Dr. Gary. That is, you know, you guys, and I talk about this, you guys approach that, we just talked about this. You got to find the root cause of the issue. How are we as a society doing at taking care of our bodies and our medical care overall? And this is not an indictment of medicine, but we do have some issues with how we take care of our bodies.
Yeah, I think that we're a fast-paced world. We've gone from an industrial society to a technological society, and everyone wants the quick fix. And unfortunately, what happens when we're taking medications or over-the-counter prescriptions, you know, we're just decreasing our awareness. Like we're decreasing our awareness. There's a problem. The problem is still there. That, you know, there is no chemical that's going to fix a physical problem. That'd be like walking in the park and having a pebble in your shoe, and you sit down and you don't take the shoe off. You just take a pill for it.
Yeah, you take an aspirin to get rid of the pain.
And so, but we were raised that way. That's how I was raised. You know, and I think that we have to, as a society, realize that a physical problem needs a physical solution. And when you put a physical solution to it, regardless of what that is, you're going to have more often than not a good outcome. And the medication can always be used, surgeries can always happen. Those should just be last resorts. And if we start going back to that type of treatment, people will do so much better. The reason why arthritis is the leading disability in this country is because we don't take care of the problem early on. We just let it go, or we mask it with the medication.
And let me just, as a side anecdote with a tragic end, my father ended up having a stroke because he threw his back out. And his doctor was out of town, but all his doctor did was prescribe painkillers. He didn't ever fix the issue. There was no kind of underlying going after the physical medicine part of that. So to say, well, my knees hurt or my back hurts, it becomes a cascading thing that also affects your quality of life. If you can no longer walk without pain, you become more sedentary, you create all these other health issues, when there could be a solution that could help you get back to the things that you enjoy doing, or just living without pain. Nobody tells you when we're getting older, hey, you're going to wake up every day and something new is going to hurt. But I feel like that's where we are in society, and these two, Karen Ray and Dr. Gary, can help. If you want a free evaluation, all you have to do is call 303-292-9992. That's 303-292-9992. Make an appointment at Lowry, make an appointment downtown, and you're just not going to find a better team than you find at Downtown's Healthcare to take care of those problems that you might think are just a function of getting older, and that this is just what it's going to be, and that you do not have to accept that. Reject it out of hand. They can help you feel a million times younger than you do right now if you're living with pain every day. It's miserable. It's just not a good place to be. Karen, I really appreciate you making time today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, that's Karen Ray from Downtown's Healthcare. Dr. Gary, I asked Dr. Gary right before we came back, I said, do you want to stick around for Of the Day? And he went, what? And I went, I won't throw you to the wolves today. I won't torture you today by making you be a part of the day. But I will see you soon. I need to come in and let Dr. Cook unwonk me. I'm a little wonky right now.
Sounds great. Thanks for having us.
All right, that's Dr. Gary from Downtown's Healthcare. And in just a moment, who did I see? I thought I saw BK in here, but I did not. Because now it's time for the most exciting segment on the radio of its kind.